Hello and welcome to the Ambassadors Voices in the Room podcast. So whether you are a leader in the ministry space or in the marketplace, in this podcast, you will learn about leadership qualities exemplified by Pastor David and Jessica. So we'll be talking about leadership qualities that took them many notches far ahead of their peers. So you want to know if you have been a good leader. We want you to stay with us as we unpack this shortly. Joining me today are other amazing ambassadors that are ready to dig in. So what we'll do now is we'll go around the room. I just want you to mention your name and then one leadership quality that you personally admire most. So let's start with Bemi.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Sola, and one leadership quality I admire is, I would say, it's determination. That's the one.
Thank you. Okay. Abimbola.
I'm Abimbola Dumiji. A leadership role, being focused.
Okay, being focused. Okay. So, Ulama, can you help us with one leadership quality that you admire most?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ulama Oga. So, one leadership quality that I admire the most is humility. That leads with confidence, but not with ego. So, I tend to admire leaders who lead in humility.
Okay, thank you. Timilehi.
My name is Timilei. One leadership trait that I like is being a transformational leader, meaning you want to see people improve under your watch. That will be it for me.
Okay. Ola.
Yeah, hi everyone. For me, I think I would say a good communication skill. Because I believe I feel it's one of the most important ability of a leader. If you have a good communication skill, you can sell. How do you put it? You can sell a snoot to an Eskimo. Thank you.
Thank you. Kikelemo. So while she's getting ready, Esther, can you tell us?
Good evening, everyone. The leadership role that usually stands out for me are a good communicator and a good listener. A leader who listens to his or her team. I think that's above all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okuchuku, in one word, what leadership quality or trait do you admire most?
Good evening, guys. Okuchuku here, and one of the qualities I really admire in leadership is emotional intelligence, being able to understand your emotions as a leader, as a person first, and as a leader, and how it affects, those that you're serving or those that you're your teammates. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, great ambassadors. That's awesome. Okay, so before we continue, we want to do a kind of recap. Let's have an understanding of who Pastor David is. To help us do that, Shola, please, can you help us summarize what made Pastor David so special that we are talking about him today?
Okay, thank you very much, SD. Today we'll be looking at two case studies, and the first case study is titled Tender Giants and the Shepherd's Code. And I'll quickly walk us through the case study to give a context to our discussion for today. So I begin. Pastor David's ministry in a local church didn't begin with immediate success. In his first year as leader of the youth group, he encountered resistance from several long-standing members. They didn't agree with his vision and expectations for the group, which included regular involvement and commitment to church events. Despite the initial challenges, Pastor David's leadership has since transformed the youth group, which now thrives with regular participation, vibrant spiritual growth, and a commitment to the community. Pastor David has built a deep sense of unity and teamwork, emphasizing that ministry is not about individual achievements, but a collective effort to glorify God. It begins every season of ministry with a church-wide retreat, followed by a long intense Bible study and team building program. This is known as the Unity Week for the church youth group, a time for bonding, spiritual renewal, and service. Regardless of their individual level of faith, everyone participates in shared devotional time, prayer, service, understanding that they are all parts of a greater mission. I think we can all relate to this in our different churches. In my church, I can relate to that. Yes. So Pastor David encourages his leaders to take ownership of their roles within the group. Senior leaders are expected to model maturity in their faith and lead by example, guiding the younger members of the group with wisdom. Junior leaders serve as mentors and assist in planning group activities, while newer members are expected to learn from the established leaders and contribute as they grow in their spiritual understanding. Even the newest members are not left out. They are also given small tasks that help them to integrate into the ministry culture with guidance and support from the rest of the team. Each week, Pastor David holds a 20-minute devotional and group check-in where every member has the opportunity to offer praise or raise any concerns. So this is like a review session. Despite being demanding, Pastor David is also caring, ensuring that his team knows they can approach him for spiritual guidance and support during tough times. He uses humor and light-hearted moments to build a culture of warmth, even during intense periods of ministry. Pastor David isn't focused on just completing tasks or programs. He's focused on building relationships with God and others, believing that through this, the work of the ministry will flourish. Over to you, SD. That's
Thank
our
you
case
very
study
Bemi.
today.
Thank you so much. Yes. Let's dig deeper into Pastor David. Let's start with the big picture. What leadership traits made Pastor David successful, and how will you describe his overall leadership ability? If you can make just very quick and then as sharp and smooth as possible, can someone jump in to help us with some of the qualities based on the case study that made Pastor David's ministry very successful? Let's start with Yinka.
For me, I believe he's a visionary leader. If you look at the things he put in place, like the retreats, like the Bible study, and even at the initial stage, he faced some difficulties, challenges in carrying people along. But despite all that, he didn't give up. And then it means he has a vision that he believes he can achieve. So for me, I think he is a visionary leader.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So just to add a bit, a contrast. So let me put this to Timilehin. Okay. What leadership, requires more than charisma? There's an admin that has to be inside it. It has to be relational. It has to be strategic. How will you score Pastor David on all those? Timilehin or Esther can jump in while Timilehin is booting. So the question is, leadership requires more than just charisma. there's an admin, there's a relational side, and there's also the strategic side. So how does Pastor David score on all this? Oluwaseyi, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you want to jump in on that. How will you score Pastor David on all those aspects? Okay,
Okay, let me
who
just
we want to jump in? Okay,
start.
let me please jump in for
So
us.
in terms of admin, let me just quickly open. I love to refer to the case study. I would say, when he had the Unity Week, that was very strategic, and he was able to put that in place to encourage everybody. It built a sense of unity, and it created a time for bonding, for spiritual renewal. And I also mentioned the weekly 20 minutes devotional group check-in. That was that was also a conceptual skills that I noted from Pastor David. And all this actually, there was a balance of structure and care, combining all these skills. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. So, Okuchiku, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, would you want to add to maybe help us a bit? Because Pastor David was a very spiritual, he was involved in spiritual leadership, you know. It's possible it would have overshadowed his performance in some areas like task. After all, he's just a pastor. He would have just been focused on doing all the praying and all the other assignments. So how was he able to balance both the spiritual side of the ministry and the admin and all the other things that he needed to do to be a successful leader?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I just have two short answers. The first is structure, and the
Okay.
second is ability to delegate tasks, and which falls partially under structuring, right? So the fact that his spiritual was also complemented by his ability to um, put some certain structures in place, weekly check-ins according to the case study that we read, right? Weekly check-ins, prayer hours, and all the structure that he put in place to make sure that people were carried along, and his ultimate task or his ultimate goal was not really about any other thing but to um, ensure that his members or the people he was leading had a close relationship with God and with other people. So yeah, structure and his ability to delegate tasks were the two major things that gave him that opportunity to balance out the spiritual and the leadership aspects of his calling. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Okuchuku. So, Timilehi, I'll come to you now. From a relational perspective, what stands out to you about how Pastor David was able to build the community, and influenced the community on the positive side?
Thank you very much. From a relational perspective, you would find that he had a way of connecting with his people. It was very people-oriented. Fantastic. Yeah, so from a relational point of view, you find that he was more of a servant leader. He was quite people-oriented, and he had a way of connecting with the members of his team. He had different programs to which he was able to do that, ensuring that at different levels, he was able to interact with different people. He was there to guide them spiritually and emotionally. He leveraged on their strengths, and he ensured that everything was also very participatory. So it was a very people-oriented leader, and you would even find that his relational skill actually was at the core of what he was able to do. I think that's about it on my end.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, Uloma, I was coming to you. So if you were in Pastor David's team, you know, what part of his leadership would motivate or challenge you the most? You know, knowing that he was demanding, yet he was caring and approachable, you know, which is what you don't find in most leaders today. You find more of people that are demanding, dominating, and controlling. So how was Pastor David able to balance demand, you know, and still was approachable and was still caring and was still getting results? So as leaders, should we be demanding? Do you think people will follow us or they will like us if we are demanding?
Okay. So as leaders, because of the goals that need to be achieved, there will be need to be demanding.
Yes.
However, the way and manner that we demand results from our follower or subordinates, it's what matters. For Pastor David case, we have already, people that have spoken before me has already highlighted Pastor David being relational, having a structure. All those things he's put in place made it easier for the people following to listen to him and collaborate to achieve the goal that he wants. For instance, his weekly check-in is something very scarce in our leadership, right? So for him to devote time to search out his people, check on them, and know how they are doing, and then engaging in prayer meeting regularly, I think is one of the reasons for the achievement he was able to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very brilliant. Because sometimes, so we're looking like a Pastor David today. We tell you, okay, by tomorrow we should complete this assignment. But the same Pastor David will tell you, if you need any help, you know, I'm available. So there are leaders that they give you the task, they give you the assignment, and they become unavailable. So Pastor David is someone that, you know, we be demanding, because if there's no demand, nothing may be accomplished. And then the vision will be truncated. So as leaders, yes, let's demand for results, but not intimidate. Let's not intimidate people. Yes. Okay. So thanks all for your contributions on Pastor David. Now we are moving into a leader in the marketplace. That's Jessica. So please, can someone? So we are looking at Jessica now, which is the second leader that we are excited about, that we're talking about on this today's podcast. And I want Timilehi to please help us just give a quick summary of some of the things that made Jessica to stand out, that has attracted us to her leadership abilities. Just as quickly and as briefly as you can. Let's hear the Jessica leadership success story. Timilehi, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Jessica's leadership style was a unique one. She was someone that literally took Christian faith to the marketplace. And the core of what she did was to be ethical in her approach. And also she found a way to work with our team members in a way where she's able to connect the things that were important to them such as, their vision, their values, their challenges and aspiration, and then find the sweet spots where she could align each person's purpose with the company's mission. And so you find that it is like a win-win situation where you sort of feel like your purpose is embedded in the company's mission. One of the things that she also did was to take what she calls a strategic humility in our approach, which is basically empowering our team to lead decisions and trust them with responsibility and authority. So she was quietly guiding them and making them shine brighter. This story also speaks into when there was now a critical crossroad where it felt like all she had been teaching her team members had to be tested, since she was a value-oriented, ethical leader. And at this point, there was a temptation to want to cut corners and do things, a certain way. However, they stood their ground, and they were able to tide over this storm. And so what is unique about Jessica is the fact that she was able to build a high-performing team that would not compromise on its values, even when the world around them seemed to. So this is basically what you find. So the leadership, through her leadership, she was able to set a culture of integrity, trust, and unwavering commitment to doing business God's way. So she took her faith, she took her belief into the workspace, and she was able to embed the values and the aspiration of our team members in alignment with the company's mission in one very amazing leadership. So that's the summary of Jessica.
Okay, thank you very much. And in this environment or in so many business environments, you find that there's so much noise about leaders, about leadership. When a leader comes in, sometimes they describe them as the elephant in the room. It's people are looking for where to hide, or people are looking for a sycophantic way of trying to make the leader just accommodate them and be in their favor. But so how is someone that is described as a quiet and silent person able to lead, in this kind of environment, which is part of why we're a bit excited, on how Jessica, was able to lead. So does it mean that you can also be a good leader even when you are not noisy, even when you are quiet, even when you are calm? So can somebody tell us what were those things that helped Jessica to remain calm, even in the marketplace, a place that the expectation is that you should be loud, you should be noisy, you should let people know, lord it over people? Can somebody just tell us what major quality, kept her on the right track? Oluwaseyi, can you hear me? You want to take that?
Okay, thank you very much. For Jessica, okay, thank you. For Jessica, she's a kind of leader that she didn't have to change her personality because of the position. And she had values prior to a leadership role. And those values, she still took those values very seriously when she took on the role of a leader. So as leaders, you don't have to change your personality and your values because of, oh, I'm already a leader. Like, because of your role, you don't have to change your personality. And I think that was what Jessica did. And she was able to influence people despite, not having to walk into the room and, have this, charisma and everything of a leader. So I think that's something that is worthy of emulation.
Okay, thank you very much. Macronat, you want to add anything to that? Or Yinka, you want to say something that made her stand out?
Yes, I was about, I will say that leadership is not all about you being at the forefront doing the entire thing. It's about leadership is about making people do what you want them to do. So she may not be vocal, but she controls people. She's able to convince them. She's able to listen to them, which is very important as well. Listen to them, relate with them, and having listened to them, you hear them, and then the next thing you're able to say, okay, do it this way, do it that way. So she probably might not be, leaders might not necessarily be at the forefront, but you make people to walk. So a charisma might be the quiet type, but she has people that she has a way, a skill to convince people to go and do the work for her. That's how I'll say it's one of the primary reasons she was able to succeed as a leader.
Okay, thank you very much. Abimbola,
Okay.
I can see. Abimbola, I can see.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to say that the story of Jessica, as given in the case study, has proven to us that irrespective of your temperamental type, you can be a leader, right? Because there are some people that would say because they are introverted or quiet, their temperament doesn't make for leadership. Now, while we saw in the first case study that Pastor David was more of an extroverted person, he's there reaching out to people, involving people, getting feedback, and that. Jessica is more of the stepping out of the backstage person, so more of like an introverted person. So, and even though she is introverted, even though her temperament is kind of quiet, she was still able to lead. So our story has made it impossible for anyone to give excuse that they cannot become a leader, an effective leader, because of temperament issues. Because Jessica is probably a phlegmatic or melancholic person, and despite that temperament qualification, she was still able to lead our team. And one of the things that really stood out for me is the ability for her to lead a team, not in a forceful way. Most leaders are out there, they are in the face of everybody, they are forceful, they are trying to influence people, sell out their ideas, get things running. Jessica is more of a person that wants to, get the feedback of people, um, allow people to talk, help them to build their confidence, by developing trust-based relationship that is driven through giving people a voice, in the team. And one of the things that the case study showed us was that she was able to transform a team from the inside out. Most people want to transform their team from outside in, but she's transforming her team from inside out, bringing out the best in her teammates by giving them a voice, allowing them to contribute, make sell out their own ideas, and then come using the aggregate of those ideas and opinions, to forge ahead. And aside from that, the case study also shows us that she's an ethical leader. So it's not just about meeting the goals, increasing the numbers. It's about doing business the God's way, right? So that's important for us as Christians, especially in the marketplace. So we are not just going there to just make impact. That is, we can make impact, and we can make impact God's way, just like this guy's doing. So those are the things that really stood out for me in Jessica's story.
Thank you very much. I mean,
Yeah, I hope all got that.
in answering the question, you've gone ahead to talk even up to the administrative, interpersonal, and some of her conceptual skills. And I'm glad you've mentioned that part of what helped her was her spirituality. She didn't go to the marketplace to compromise. She stood her ground, even when there were, pressures to cut corners. And that's for us as leaders, let's be ethical in our dealing, and let's also balance our spirituality. Let people know who we are as children of God. Let them know what we stand for, and let's not begin to compromise because, now you are the leader. You just have to maintain your ethical values, and your spirituality as a child of God. Thank you, Mark Ronald. So, Abimbola, I was coming to you. I will want to see, from a relational perspective, how will you describe her skills? She led a high-performing team without micromanaging them. How did she balance relationships and results? How? Because sometimes when you are beginning to relate with people that are following you, one or two things may happen. They may begin to take you for granted, or they may begin to just follow you because they want to curry some favor and begin to even drop in their performance. Because yes, they have, sometimes we use a language here, see finish. So how was she still able, as a quiet leader, how was he able to still, lead those people without micromanaging them, knowing that there will be a whole lot of people, just following her and maybe not really keen in terms of performance. So how was she able to balance all those issues?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Maybe will you want to jump in? I think Abimbola is trying to.
Okay, thank you, ST. So I'll just write on what similarly mentioned when she shared her contribution. I love her approach, the strategic humility approach, and that word was so striking to me. I needed to read more about it, and I got to understood that she understood her own weakness and also tried to understand the weaknesses of our team members. That way, she was able to she wasn't just trying to. She came from a place of, okay, let me understand your strength, let me understand your weakness, so that I'm able to work better with you. I'm able to delegate the right tasks to you. And we'll see that she held back most of the time, even though she was, she gave them the power to be innovative. She was still there in the background guiding them. And I would say she invested deeply in people's identity, not just as subordinates. She gave them this sense of, like, okay, go do it. It's your thing. So, and that alone is very, when people feel valued, they tend to, when they feel like they are part of the big, the results, the outcome, they tend to give more to it, they tend to commit more to it. And I will also say she's a good listener. And one thing people love is when you listen to them. And listening is not just about you hearing them. Are you present when, as you're listening to that person? And we can see from the case study that she was present in everything, in every area of their life. I'm sure she would know some of them way beyond work. She tried to understood where they were coming.
Okay. Thank you, Gwemi. We have just 3 minutes to round off now. And yes, what kind of lesson would you want to apply that you've learned from, Jessica? Rosemary, is there anything you want to talk about Jessica that you learned from her in 1 minute, please?
Oh well, good evening. So from Jessica's lesson story, I could see that, I mean, to be a leader, you literally don't have to be seen. It's just about your impact. You don't have to be seen, like you don't have to be everywhere, but your impact speaks volume for you. And I think for you to actually be a proper leader, you have to start by knowing what you're capable of doing, knowing yourself, your ability, and how well you want to push those people. So you have to know the values you're bringing first before you're able to lead. So from Jessica, I could learn that. I mean, for me, I don't have to be seen because I think I could relate more with Jessica because I'm more of an introvert. I don't want to speak when I'm supposed to speak. I just want to listen and move on, that kind of thing. But from this, I could see that, oh, you can actually not be seen, but your impact will be felt as a leader. So that's what I'm taking out from Jessica's story. Thank
Thank
you.
you very, very much. Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's been an insightful conversation on leadership, from Pastor David's ministry to Jessica's quiet revolution. We have seen leadership that goes beyond results. So true leadership is visionary, is empowering, and is transformational. And before we go, I just want us to maybe mention one or two things. So before we go, can you just mention again, we started the same way, what leadership lessons, whether it's a habit or quality, will you borrow either from Pastor David or from Jessica? So let's just one word. Ulama. Just one
Okay,
word.
so from
Just one word.
Jessica,
Yes, okay.
one word,
Yes, please.
humility, strategic humility.
Thank you very much. Okuchuku,
Active listening.
from which of them, Jessica or Pastor
Jessica,
David?
active listening. Jessica.
Okay, Olayinka. Okay, Macronad.
Transformative leadership.
David or Jessica? Both.
Jessica.
Okay. Rosemary.
From Jessica, I would borrow authenticity.
Authenticity. Okay, Oluwaseyi.
She said that what I wanted to say. Okay.
Okay,
She
Abimbola.
said what I wanted to say about spirituality as well, relying on
Perfect.
God.
Okay, Abimbola.
Ethical for Jessica.
Jessica. Thank you. Timileyin.
For David, Shepherd's Code.
Shepherd's Code.
Being a
Okay.
shepherd.
Okay,
Yes, for
Rosemary.
Jessica, spirituality.
Okay. Esther. Kikelomo. Okay. So, thanks for joining us today. If you are a leader, whether in ministry or business or family, remember that leadership isn't about forcing others to follow you. It's about helping them discover the path they were meant to walk. And you are leading from their heart, serve with humility, on a journey towards lasting transformation. If you've enjoyed this episode of Ambassadors' Voices in the Room, please subscribe, share it with a fellow leader, and drop us a comment. Until next time, stay grounded, stay gracious, and keep leading well. Thanks, ambassadors. Thanks for joining us today. Have a lovely evening. Bye.